Hello everyone, welcome back to Learn with Samandash. As you can see, we have launched our new logo, Samandash Education for All. So wherever you see this logo, make sure that you hit a subscribe button for us. I'm so excited to be back here with our next chapter in our Advanced English course. And today's chapter is how to check your English grammar level. If you guys are new to this video, please remember we already covered chapter 1 where we talked about how to check our vocabulary level. And in this video, we are talking about how to check your English grammar level. The best way to check any sort of level is to have a little bit of a quiz. So we thought of collecting a couple of questions. You will get 5 proper questions related to grammar and there are 2 bonus questions. So if you really want to have fun with the grammar questions as well as bonus questions, make sure that you're still till the end of this video. Alright? So the very first question on your screen will come just now, but remember, you will get some time to clear the answers, and once the answer is done, we'll have a little bit of an explanation to give you an idea what is this concept all about. Okay, the first question is on your screen. I hope you can see it very clearly. If you can't see it, listen to me carefully because I'm going to repeat the question for you. The question number 1 is, your notes were very useful, full stop, in dash the part on English grammar. There are 3 options: for, particular, have. Okay, I'm going to repeat the question for you. Your notes were very useful in dash the part on English grammar. So try to find the answer for this question. We cannot wait for a long amount of time because this is a very direct question. You can easily think of an answer right away. The correct answer is particular. Okay, so what is this question telling you? The question is telling you your notes were very useful in particular. So all of the notes were really good. The collection of notes were really good, but out of those notes, I love the part on English grammar in particular. That means most importantly, I like that part. So when you want to highlight information from the bulk was your notes. Out of that, I want to tell you this part was really helpful. So I have written in particular. Okay. You can use in particular every time you want to use this information. Let's have the next question. Certain serious diseases can be successfully treated dash detected in an initial stage. Okay, I'm going to repeat the question one more time. Certain serious diseases can be successfully treated dash detected in an initial stage. You have 4 or 5 options: unless, even if, after, if, before. You will be surprised to know that the answers or the options that we have is a combination of multiple concepts in English grammar. We have few prepositions here, we have few conjunctions here. So you have to think of an answer which will definitely fit into this blank. Okay, take your time quickly and find the answer. Certain serious diseases can be successfully treated dash detected in an initial stage. So the answer is if. You will be surprised to know that if can play multiple roles in English grammar. And that's the beauty of English grammar. One word can play multiple roles. Here, if can also act as a conjunction in certain cases. If also act as a conditional, that you have to tell me that this can only happen if this happen. When this kind of a logic is applied, that is when we use if as a conditional. So what are we understanding here is that conditional is an advanced level English grammar concept which we'll be covering in our coming YouTube videos as well as in our advanced English grammar course. Alright, so let's move on to our bonus question. Now bonus question is not directly related to English grammar. It has a little bit of vocab added to it. At the same time, grammar is also in action. The question is, I saw a huge snake dash across the room. That's scary, right? Alright, now please understand, when we talk about vocab, when we talk about grammar, and we are dealing with advanced English here, it's really important that you understand the way a certain word is pronounced or the certain sentence is said. The way you say this sentence, it will add more effect. Now, I can say, I saw a huge snake dash across the room. Or I can add little bit of efforts, I can add little bit of expressions, little bit of voice modulation, and I can say, I saw a huge snake dash across the room. I can show the terror I have. I'm frightened because of the snake. You have three options: scraping, craving, crawling. Okay, so you have to understand what can fit with snake. Do snakes scrape? Do they crave? Or do they crawl? What could be the correct answer? I'm going to explain the meaning of all the three words, but before that, take a minute and tell me what is the answer for this question. Let's check out the answer. The answer is crawling. So let me come back to the point where I told you, let's add some expressions. Let's add some voice modulation into it. I saw a huge snake crawling across the room. Now the first part of my sentence, I can raise my voice. In the second part of the sentence, I can reduce it. I saw a huge snake crawling across the room. So this shows that you feel what you're talking, and that's a very important aspect of advanced English course. I'm repeating it multiple times because most of the students don't even focus on this aspect. They try to work on the grammar, they try to work on the vocab. What they miss is how to say what you say. So in advanced English course, we have a section called as Fluency. We'll be coming up with multiple videos on fluency as well. In fact, our next video is going to be on fluency, and you have to focus on the voice modulation aspect of fluency. Okay, now let's understand what are the meanings of these words. Scrapping, we're going to discuss later. There's a huge discussion coming up on this. Craving is when you have this urge to eat something. For example, some people have a craving for sweet food. Some people have craving for salty food. Some people want to have sour in their food. Okay, so you are somebody who wants to eat something. There is this desire to eat something. You are craving for it. Snakes don't crave. Humans crave. All right. Crawling is what snakes and spiders do. Crawling simply means when you are on the floor and you're trying to take one step at a time, and you're not moving fast, you're moving slowly. You're crawling. Okay, so with snakes and spiders, you will always add crawling. Now let's understand what is the advanced English grammar course. I want to show you a picture on your screen right now, and I would want you guys to take a screenshot of that picture because I'm going to show you what topics are majorly covered in advanced English grammar course. You will be surprised to know that most of these concepts will be covered on our YouTube videos, but if you're looking for more extensive version of it, right? If you're looking for more PDFs for references, if you're looking for exercises for references, you should definitely visit our website. But before that, let me show you what topics could be covered in this advanced English course. We have topics such as tenses, types of sentences, modal verbs, direct, indirect, active, passive, conditionals. As I mentioned, conditionals are really important. Subject, verb, agreement, one of the most important topic when it comes to English grammar. Determiners, question tags, phrasal verbs, clauses, parts of speech, quantifiers, punctuations, etc. These are few topics. Okay, we have many more to come. Now, as I mentioned, most of these topics will definitely be covered in our advanced English course running on our channel. But if you are looking for extensive version and more practice, more references, you should definitely visit english.learnwithsamandash.com. We have 4 different segments in that. We have grammar course separately, vocab, fluency, and writing. And if you want to purchase bulk, if you want to get all of them together, you will get it at a discounted price. The registrations are already started, and it's your opportunity to grab it and start your journey of advanced English learning. Okay, coming back to our slides here, we have scraping versus scrapping. Okay, as I mentioned, these are 2 separate words, and the only difference in their spelling is you have double P here and you have single P. Okay, so these are one of those words which are called as most confusing words. They look same, but they have completely different meanings. So I want you to take a second and try to understand what is scrapping versus scraping. Scrap versus scrape. So these words will actually look in the shorter form as scrap, and this will become S-C-R-A-P-E. This becomes without E, and that becomes with E. Scrap, scrape. There's a difference in the words are pronounced. Okay. Scrap is a small piece of something such as paper or cloth. That means it's a waste material. You might be using an actual paper and you made some cuttings into it. The remaining part is called as scrap. Okay, and the next word we have is scrape. Scrape is an action That means you have to do a process of certain types. For example, I scraped the snow off the car. You know, you live in Canada or the countries where there are continuous snowfall. So once you wake up in the morning, you have to go out and you check your car completely covered in snow. So what you will do as the first step, you have to scrape off. You have to remove that snow. So that process is called as scrape. So we have scrap, which is a waste material. Scrape is an action. That is the difference between scrapping and scraping. The words look similar, but they have completely different meanings. So it's important we understand the concept, most often confusing words. That brings me to our next question, active to passive voice. Now, before you jump to this question, I want to highlight this one more time. What we are doing in this video is to have an exercise of grammar. Along with the concepts, along with the exercises, I'm trying to explain the concepts as well so that you and I can connect. Okay? If you have any questions, if you have any doubts, you have our email address. There's a chat box at the bottom, or you can say in a comment section. I would want you to leave your doubts there. Okay? So the next question is, please convert this sentence, which is an active voice. Now, what is an active voice? What is a passive voice? We'll be discussing that later. This is a revision of your knowledge. Okay? You have to convert this sentence into a passive voice. You have 3 options on your screen. The question is, I gave her a book for her retirement. Okay? So generally in active voice, subject always comes first. But in passive voice, subject goes to the end, or sometimes you don't even write the subject. That's what active passive means. But here we have a subject, we have a verb, and we're doing certain sort of action there. So what could be the correct answer? She is given a book for her retirement. Is that correct? She were given a book for her retirement. Is that correct? She was given a book for her retirement. Is this correct? So your answer is, she was given a book for her retirement. She, which is this one, her retirement, or this one, she was, in passive voice, generally you translate it to the nearest past tense. Okay? She was given a book for her retirement. This was already in the second form of the verb, so we have to think of third form of the verb. You have to convert your main verb into the nearest past tense. So for this verb, this is the nearest past tense. Okay? If the sentence was something different, I give her a book, then it will become, I gave her a book. Okay? Nearest past tense. She was given a book for her retirement. That's the correct answer for this question. Next, this is the house I used to dash. Okay? I used to dance. Or let's find out the correct options. We have I live in, used to live in, used to living, and then we have live. What could be the correct answer? All of these options look very accurate to me. This is the house I used to live in. This is the house I used to live. Most of the students will end up saying I used to live. That makes sense, right? As per our knowledge, this makes sense. But the correct answer is live in. Now, live in and live are 2 different concepts. Live is a verb. I used to live. Now here, we don't need the verb. We need a phrasal verb. Live in is a phrasal verb. I'm going to explain what phrasal verb means, but before that, let's take a look into the simple understanding that when you have live, it is an action. It is a verb. Verb talks about action, right? Live in is a phrasal verb. Now there is this term which we have added here, phrasal. What does that mean? So phrasal verb is a combination of words that functions as a verb. They act as a verb, but they are made of verb plus a preposition or an adverb or both. Hope this is making sense. Let's go back to this understanding. So you have a phrasal verb here. Phrasal verb acts as a verb, okay, but it is made with a combination of words. We have a verb here. Live is a verb. In is a preposition. So in order to make a phrasal verb, I need a verb plus a preposition, or sometimes you can also have an adverb, or you can have preposition plus adverb together. Okay, so in order to make a phrasal verb, I had to add a verb plus a preposition. Now, you have a couple of examples on your screen. Live in, shut up, take off, look around. I really want you to look. That's one way of saying it. I really want you to look around. So that's when phrasal verbs come into context. Now, why do you really need phrasal verbs? That's the understanding we're going to catch up when we discuss phrasal verbs in detail. Okay, that brings me to our very last question on our screen. After this question, we're going to discuss what is the score. If you guys score 4 to 5, you will end up being an advanced learner of English grammar. If your scoring is somewhere around 2 to 3, you will be an intermediate level. And if you end up scoring less than 2, 1 is correct or 0, none of them are correct, you will end up being a basic learner. Okay, now the fifth question is, on hearing the joke, she burst dash laughter. We just understood phrasal verb. So this is the correct example of another phrasal verb. You have burst as a main verb and something else will be added here. So should I add burst to laughter, burst in laughter, burst into laughter? According to you, what should be the correct answer? On hearing the joke, she burst dash laughter. If the answer is done, you can check it quickly. The correct answer is she burst into laughter. Out of these 3 questions, into is correct. Now, you can also find a lot of definitions on internet for the word burst in. Okay, burst in. She was burst in. But when I say burst into, the meaning changes. If I say burst in, the meaning is different. If I say burst into, the meaning is entirely different. Let's find out. Burst in means to suddenly enter a room and interrupt someone or something. For example, somebody was trying to have some fun at their home and you without even knocking the door, you just burst in. You open the door with a smash. That's called as burst in. They just burst in on us without even knocking on the door. The police burst in our house without even giving any notice. So burst in means when you suddenly enter. It is related to entering process. When you suddenly enter and you disrupt something. Burst into, when you suddenly burst into tears or laughter. When you suddenly start crying or when you suddenly start laughing. That's called as burst into. You can burst into laughter. You can burst into tears. Both of them are correct. But burst into simply means that it has to be a sudden process. You don't plan it. You heard a joke and you burst into laughter. You heard a bad news, you burst into tears. Anything could be correct. She burst into tears after hearing the bad news. Okay? It's not burst in, it's burst into. So that was the difference on this question. On hearing the joke, since she heard a joke and she couldn't control her laughter, so what she did? She burst into laughter. Okay? It was sudden. It was so powerful that she couldn't control. Now, that brings me to our test score. As I've already told you, 4 to 5 is advanced, 2 to 3 is intermediate, less than 2 is basic. That brings me to the end of this chapter, and the next chapter is going to be fluency. I'm going to quickly have a lovely chat with you right now. As I mentioned, our advanced English course website registrations are already open. You can definitely take a look at that. Please scroll through the website properly. If you have any questions related to the course, reach out to us as fast as you can. We have vocab, fluency, grammar and writing skills in there. And that's why I'm going to give you the glimpse of how the fluency course looks like in our next chapter. Most of our data, in fact, we claim to give you 70% of the data of this course on our YouTube channel, which will be so beneficial for you if you try to use it properly. And the remaining, you can actually, in order to cover more extensive version of it, in order to have more PDFs, in order to have more practice material, exercises, more explanation, you can definitely take a look at our english.learnwithsamandash.com website. Okay. Now, this is the next chapter. I hope you guys can quickly click on that subscribe button so that we can be more engaged into teaching process. Thank you so much. I'll catch up in the next video. Bye-bye.